When I was younger, one of the things that always kind of one of the things that really didn't sit right with me was this idea that, oh, bro, there's more single women in cities than men. Oh, bro, if you're not, doing well, if dating is causing you a headache, it's your fault because there's more single women than single men in cities, bro. And today, I really want to address why this is a lie. I did some digging and we have the truth. I always tell you guys don't take stats and studies at face value. The devil is really in the details. As you read into it more, as you do a little bit more digging, the truth will reveal itself. And today, we got a really, really important topic. I'm going to be showing why that is a lie. Now, for all you guys who typically sit in the back, today, all of you are going to want to sit up front today. The guys in the back usually fall asleep. Sit up front today because this is going to be one of the most important videos you can watch. Why? Because this video can potentially save you thousands of dollars. This video could potentially save you years of your youth wasted chasing your tail, chasing the false carrot in the sky. So listen closely. So the first thing I want to address is this whole fallacy that, there's more single women than single men in cities, bro. Especially like in a place like Washington D.C., which is a garbage pile. Most major cities are trash piles. Let me just be honest: San Francisco, Miami, Toronto, D.C., New York. New York is a little bit different because it's kind of like its own world. That probably needs a separate video on New York, but places like that, Los Angeles, L.A., Miami, any like major hub, major city is mostly a garbage pile. They have Starbucks. It's soulless. They have Starbucks on every corner, and I never really understood the fascination with Starbucks coffee. Starbucks coffee it tastes like dirt. It's not that good. I've tried many drinks from Starbucks. Like here's the thing. I'm not one of those people who just say like, oh, just because majority of people like it, I'm not going to like it just to make myself seem different. I'm not one of those type of people. I actually give it a shot. Like I've tried the shitty cupcakes that people stand in line for an hour wrapped around the block waiting for. I tried the Starbucks coffee to see if it actually is legit, and it's always trash. I don't understand the fascination with Starbucks coffee. I really don't. Stanley cups. There's like these trends that often kind of pop up, but most cities are soulless places, man. Most cities absolutely suck. They have these luxury apartments, and they're really just boxes with rooms attached to them. That's really all it is. This is why I don't like living in like modern apartments, unless it's like it has soul. It's like the apartments are different. They're interesting. It's not just like a box. You know, this is why I always live in different older apartment buildings. I like to, whenever I'm looking for a condo or an apartment, I typically like to look at older buildings because they have character. They just have more soul to them. It's not just like a box. Most things in cities it's all about efficiency. So when they're building apartments, they build it cheaply, fast, and it's just no soul. On every corner there's a Starbucks. There's people waiting for stupid cupcakes. The nightlife is usually pretty crappy. There's bars that are just packed with dudes. And this is what we're going to talk about today. The whole fallacy of the cities. One of the other things about cities is, they tell you, oh, the women in the city, you're going to go there and you're going to live this glamorous life. It's all a lie. It really is all a lie. And I'm not saying that, cities don't have opportunities. Unfortunately, a lot of the jobs are in these cities, so it's kind of like a catch 22. But with the rise of remote work, you may be able to free yourself depending on what type of career you're in. But cities absolutely suck. The major cities are just trash piles. I've gotten the best experiences when it comes to women, treatment, and just a vibe have been like smaller cities. And I know people say, oh, it's less people. but I found it's just a better environment. Even if the dating is like not that great, you know what I mean? It's just still a better environment than a shitty ass city. There's weird obsessions with cupcakes, weird obsession with Starbucks. Most cities, I came to the conclusion that most cities are actually built for women. They're built for the single ladies. All the single ladies. The Beyonce song, cities are built for that. That's really what they're built for. Brunch spots. I don't really understand the fascination with going to brunches. A lot of people, and the men just kind of follow behind whatever the women do. Oh, I heard that women go to brunch, bro. We got to show up. Oh, I heard it's ladies' night, bro. We got to go. The men are they're just clowns. They just follow around whatever women do. That's what the men do, right? So, another thing with cities is that typically the men in the city are making pretty decent money on average. On average, there's a plethora of successful men who are decent looking, even dare I say, very attractive, average, above average dudes who are successful, who are making good money, who are driving the BMW, who has a good job. There's a plethora of them. There's so many, and we're going to get into some numbers. I'm going to be showing some numbers in a second that might surprise many, many people. And share this video, guys. Share this video. If you have a friend, if you know somebody, share this video, okay? But yeah, there's no shortage of decent men in cities. This is why I don't believe the lie when women say, well, there's not there's not a lot of good single men available. That's cap. That's cap, bro. That's a lie that women perpetuate to keep men simping, to keep men feeling like, okay, I just got to try hard. I got to do more. It's a gaslighting technique. Men are constantly gaslit to place the blame on you. Well, if dating sucks, it's your fault, bro. Because guess what? There's more women than men in cities, bro. And this is what people do. And this is why I have my channel, because I want men to find their happiness. I want men to find their peace and to unplug themselves, not from the matrix or anything like that. But I want men to be able to think independently of what's the lies that society, women, and everybody passes on to men that keeps you a slave, that keeps you a prisoner, and it keeps men from finding your own happiness and peace. So now let's take a look at the data. I really want to take a look at the data. And one other thing I want to talk about before we get to the data is one of the last thing about cities is I've done experiments over the years, and I've dated guys, hundreds of women at this point, and what I've noticed is it's something about the city that does something to women. And again, we're not bashing women. I love women. I say this stuff respectfully. This isn't like a lot of women are like, no, right? But it's something about cities that does something to women. I'm not sure what it does. And I've proven this. I've dated women from smaller towns, smaller cities. I've even dated women who just got to the city like 2 months, right? So let's say a woman just got to the city and she's only been here for 2 months. Those women are a much different experience than the woman who's been in the city for 5, 6, 7 years. I don't really know what it is. It does something to women. I really don't know. It does something, and it's not pretty. It's not a good thing. But this is something I've tried. I've dated women in different countries, and it's just night and day, bro. It really is night and day. It's just like warm vibes, In cities, it's like just bad vibes, from that you get from women and the type of women. It's not a warm smile, a warm embrace. It almost feels like a battle. When you're talking to a woman who lives in a city or is from a city, it feels like she's trying to like compete with you. She's trying to debate your beliefs. She's trying to find weak points about you. She's trying to throw little jabs at you and talk to you in a condescending way, in an annoying way. And it's just a mess. It really is a mess. But with that being said, guys, let's talk about the data. Let's talk about the data. So first off, I'm going to share this website. There's a link in the description below. So I'll provide this source to this graph. So this is a site of a data scientist who did more digging into this research. So here we are again. Way back in 2006, a certain pop psychologist or sociologist published a map of singles across America. And basically, that map had men cursed, women swooned, and each and every unattached number or member of society packed up for the nearest city of love. Trouble was, though, this map was a lie. Well, mostly a lie. But mostly a lie is pretty bad when life and love are on the line. Exactly. You know, it doesn't matter if it's a half truth. When we're talking about somebody's life and love, lying to somebody is doing them a great disservice, even if it's only a half lie, you know? So his single span from 20 to 64 years old. So exactly. So that graph, that pop graph that people like to talk about how like, oh, where there's more single women than single men in cities. The data was actually from used of singles from 20 to 64 years old. That's important. 20 to 64 years old. So we're talking about all the divorcees, right? We're talking about all the lesbian. We're talking about all basically the whole demographic, right? A magical world where grandparents have to sneak booze to their 20-year-old partners, right? A little unrealistic, perhaps. Exactly. The map also didn't adjust for population. 10,000 extra single women means a lot more in Des Moines than in New York City. Exactly. Nobody's talking about this either. You know, they always talk about, oh, there's more single women in Miami, New York, DC, but nobody's talking about the population, you know? So it says, for now, though, welcome to 2013 Interactive Singles Map. Now, this was in 2013, so we're talking 10 years ago. So this is probably actually even worse now. Because think, from 2006 to 2013, it only got worse. You'll see this in a second. I'll show in a second, right? It only got worse. So it's probably even worse now, especially with the whole pandemic. A lot of people left the cities. And it never really sat right with me. You know, people always used to tell me like, well, there's more single women than single men. And it never matched up with my real life experience. When I go to bars, when I go to clubs, when I do anything, it never fails. There's always more men than women. There's always a gang of dudes, but a couple of women, and half the women might not even be that attractive. Some might be overweight. It's only like a couple of decent looking women in any venue. And I've seen this year after year since I was 20 years old, since I was 18, since I was old enough to get into like the 18 and up clubs. I've seen this over and over. And I always thought it was just me. I'm like, is it just me? Am I crazy? But you're not crazy, guys. This is why I have my channel. You're not crazy. What you see is reality. So it says the cold, hard, sexy facts. Among 20 and 30 somethings, almost every single city in America has more single men than single women. Although no single woman in New York will believe it, I promise it's true. Exactly. Most women don't want to believe this, but it's true. So yeah, let's take a look at the graph. You can take a look at this for yourself. You can take a look at the website for yourself. But let's take a look at this graph. Okay, so here we are, singles 18 to 64. So we see on the East Coast, we see a lot of red, and the red is basically more women. These are areas where there's more women, right? So we see a lot of red here. In Florida, it's mostly a sausage fest we see. But let's manipulate the data. Let's change the age now from 64 to 18 to 59. And just switching from 18 to 64 to 18 to 59, look how the data changed, guys. Now it gets worse. Let's drop it down a little bit more. Let's go from 18 to 54. Let's go to 18 to 49. And it's literally just blue everywhere. There's only a couple of places with red, and that's Durham, Memphis, Tennessee, Jackson, Mississippi. So there are like a couple of places where you could still go, and it's still more single women than men. But look at this. Look at this. Look at the blue. Look at the West Coast. Blue. Look at this. Look at Florida. Let's drop it even less. Let's drop it more. Blue still expanding. Just drop it to 1839. And so now we're seeing it start to kind of stabilize, right? So look at this. But just look at that. That's crazy. So you're not going crazy. You're not. It's not you guys. It's not you. Cities absolutely suck. Cities absolutely suck. And if I were you, I wouldn't even waste money living in the city. I would probably try to live in like smaller cities, try to find smaller, or if you do live in the city, just accept that it sucks. Accept that you're not crazy. Stay to yourself. Do your thing. Maybe date here and there. If a good thing comes along, keep your door open, make your money, and just try to get out as soon as possible. That's my advice. But cities absolutely suck. I knew this for years. I knew this. I knew it. But people always gaslight you into thinking that, oh no, it's just you, bro. It's just you. It's just you. Cities are sausage fests, and that's just the facts. So I wanted to share this video because I thought it was super, super important for a lot of guys to understand this, understand like what is the reality. The reality is that there is a plethora of successful, young, good-looking guys. Don't let people lie to you and think that like, oh man, there's not a lot of successful guys. So if you just work hard and you become the top 10%, you're gonna slay, bro. It's just not true. So that's it, guys. That's the truth about these cities. I would go to somewhere like like a smaller city, like that's not like dead and not like hyped up either. Like any place that's kind of hyped up, like your Miami's, DC, Toronto, any like major hub is going to be a shit show. It's just going to be a shit show. You're going to be treated like crap. For what you're worth. All the work, all the self-improvement, all that stuff is a waste of time. So when it comes to city, I'm not saying if you're doing it for yourself, it's a waste of time. Remember, that's the difference. But if you're trying to compete, and that's another thing with cities, men compete fiercely in cities. There is more aggression. Men are more aggressive in cities because it's closer and densely populated. And remember, men are like predators. So when they see another man, they don't see a human being. They see a threat. And this might be innately. This might be biological. I'm not really sure. But majority of men who don't really understand themselves and don't understand all this stuff that we talk about, they see other men as a threat. They see you as fierce competition. So in cities, the competition is fierce. These men are competing hard. The waters are bloody. The fight in the water is harsh. Because these guys are competing in nightclubs. They're trying to posture and peacock and look more successful than the other person. Get the better BMW, one up each other. Same thing with bars and clubs. These guys are simping hard because these guys are making money. So most men, they're simping hard, going on expensive dates, taking women on trips. The simping is crazy in these cities, guys. The simping is beyond belief. So that's another aspect of cities. Men treat each other like shit. They treat each other very harshly and they try to compete. And this is for single men. Now, men who've been married or older, they tend to be good people, but it's usually like the men between like 18 to 35. That's like where you meet the fiercely guys who are fiercely competing for the scraps from the table. So cities suck. Cities absolutely suck. It's not just you. I don't know. Like I told you guys before, sometimes there's no solutions to problems. There's no solutions. The only thing for you is to try to find a place that you like that has a nice balance, that isn't a shit show. I'm all about getting your passport too. I'm not about like becoming a passport bro. But if you're going to get your passport, take the time to learn the language. Take the time to learn the culture. Don't just go there and like a vulture and try to prey on the women of the country. Go and actually immerse yourself into the culture with the locals. Don't just go to another man's land and try to extract as much resources as possible. That's the passport bros. Don't do that, right? Actually try to like become one with the culture, So that's pretty much it, boys. Like I told you guys it's pretty much over. It really is pretty much over. And again, I don't mean it's over in the sense that, you can never get laid or you'll never be able to. No, it's possible, but it's just not likely. It's over. It really is over in most of these cities, these places. It is an absolute shit show. So anyway, that is it for today's video. Drop a comment below and I'll catch you in the next one.